11-5, and they're going to the playoffs.
That's Jim Donovan, the play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Browns, longtime sports fixture in Cleveland. And Jim, kind enough to join us this morning. It's been a long time since you've been able to have a call like that, hasn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, it really has, Dan. A long time, 18 long years with a lot of twists and turns in there.
What would it have been like today if the Browns didn't make the playoffs?
Oh, it would have been devastating. It really wouldn't have. And I have to tell you, Dan, it had that kind of a uneasy feeling because of what happened going into the Jets game. And, the Browns, if they win that game, they're going to go to the playoffs. And then the coronavirus thing hit and they lose all those wide receivers. And even in the stadium yesterday, knowing that they win and they're in, it was very tight all day long. If it had gone the other way, it would have been devastating. It really would have been.
But it felt like that's 18 years of you. You know, like that frustration sounded like it was, you were speaking for Browns fans, but you're speaking for yourself as well. I mean, it comes through loud and clear. How much did you feel like you needed to like scream or yell or unload something?
Boy, I have to tell you, Dan, it really hit me. And the reality, finally got the first one, and there's no way, you're just going to take a knee and get out of there, and they're going to make the playoffs. It really hit me in a lot of different ways, because there were so many times during, my tenure doing their games that they just seemed, so lost in what they were doing. And there were so many reboots, and you never knew if the next one was going to be the right one. And I didn't know if this one was going to be the right one, the way it came upon us last year, but it was, it was very emotional. It really was. And I wish the place had been packed. I really do. It would have been a great, great scene. As they say, it would have been great theater in there yesterday.
Cleveland sold on Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, I think so. I think in the last, but I think it's taken the second half of this season. I think just before the bye week, everybody was really still concerned about it. Interceptions, his numbers in that category were up. They were way up last year. But then after they hit the bye week, he really took off. And whatever they did with him in the bye week, how they can make some subtle changes with the offense. And he really got hot. And I think yesterday he kind of did it a different way. He didn't do it with his arm a number of times. He did it with his legs. He ran for a couple of big first downs to preserve the lead and build on the lead. So I think Cleveland is very comfortable with him right now, and they see him getting better and better inside this system.
What about OBJ's future there?
I think that, that's a big talking point here always, because with him here, I mean, there's certainly a presence with him. And, he did have, he's had isolated great games here, but they weren't great last year. And he was disappointed with what they were doing. I think for him, he wants to be a part of a winning team. I think he sees this thing as a winning team. I think that they're very open and excited to have him back, because there is something missing in their offense without him. That ability to hit a big home run ball all the time. I think it would be a good marriage if he comes back next year. I think that they're excited to see him healthy once again and a part of the team.
Playing the Steelers again.
Yeah.
Advantage who?
Oh, I would have to say advantage Steelers. They're at home. They'll have all of their guys back. I mean, Big Ben he certainly has had the Browns number since he came into the NFL. And the fact that the Browns, and it doesn't matter, Dan, what the regime is or who the coach is or who the players are, there is a real mental wall to get over to try and win at Heinz Field. I mean, they've only done it once since they've opened up Heinz Field. So that's a big, big factor. And they've lost games in a lot of different ways in there. They've been in them. They've lost them in heartbreaking fashion. Their one trip to the playoffs was a heartbreaking loss at Heinz Field. So that's a big hurdle for them. That's a big step for them.
Do you remember the lowest of lows in calling a Browns game?
Yeah, I think when they were those 2 years, the 1-15, but the 0-16, and the last game in that 0-16 season was at Heinz Field. And and the Steelers weren't playing anybody because they had already had their playoff position all decided. And the Browns are going down the field to kind of win the game. And, they drop a pass on fourth down that was a simple throw that would have gotten them the first down, and it would have been first and goal. And I just said, oh my God. I mean, that just says it all. And then a week later, Dan, and you guys probably remember this, I mean, they had a parade in Cleveland for the 0-16 season, and it was like 25 below wind chill down at the stadium, and there were 10,000 people there. That was a low point, I felt.
Well, congrats. You're an announcer, a play-by-play voice for a playoff team.
Feels great.
Yeah. No vacation for you in January, Jim.
That's okay. Not much going on anyway around here.
Hey, great to talk to you. Thanks, and have fun this weekend.
We will. Thanks a lot, Dan. Happy New Year.
That's Jim Donovan. He's the play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Browns. He was doing local sports. I might have been in Dayton, Ohio at the time. Jim's been around doing Cleveland sports a long, long, long time.